Greetings and God bless. So, I am listening to an audiobook. I often listen to self help books, and I am just like what they talk about is healthy boundaries, healthy communication, where everybody's ideas are allowed, everybody's questions are allowed, and that honesty, transparency, accountability is the way to have a healthy organization, a healthy company, a healthy country, a healthy relationship, a healthy human relationship. So when you shut people down, when you censor people, when you dox people, when you imprison people, when you threaten people with a loss of their job or their family or their leverage in society, that harms communication. And while you may get compliance, you're not getting wholehearted compliance because those people, like the victims of the tyranny, the fascism, are just trying to survive. They're not in it because they just don't want to die. They don't want to be tortured. So they go along, but they're not it's not their culture, it's not their society, it's not their humanity. They're just trying to continue to live because the prospect of torture, maiming, injury, and death is too big of an unknown to cope with. So, and it boggles my mind because I mean, you read any self-help book the past 100 years, and they scream. I mean, it's screaming. It's screaming like the stones of the earth about the truth of God. Like these, like I because I know my progressive liberal peers are still reading different books, different self-help books, and going to different support groups and stuff where it's about honesty, transparency, being able to be questioned, holding people accountable rather than censorship, obey big brother, or we're going to get you. And I'm just like the brainwashing, I guess, is so complete. You know like I was kind of an ignorant person in the 80s, like where my peers were, looking closely, watching the news, watching like major newspapers, New York Times, I don't know, world events and stuff like that. So in the late 80s and early 90s, my peers would be, bringing up politics, and I was just like, I was just trying to, get through college and just go to work and pay my bills and stuff like that. So I didn't have the bandwidth to understand national politics or international politics, and I don't claim to understand it now, but you get a sense of things once you do begin to look. And I'm like, that interest that my peers had, I still know some of them, and they're not interested. Like they just are thinking everything's fine now. Even though they complained about Clinton at the time when he was president, or joked about it. I mean, they didn't even like weren't displeased with him because I was just because they brought up the Monica Lewinsky stuff, and I'm like, well, I figured all at the time I figured all big public figures have some weird issue going on, and that must be part of how you get into politics is having something extremely shameful and cut from a different cloth than ordinary people, like that are really bringing real value to all of us, real human beings. So I didn't really have any issues with Clinton, and like my politically correct liberal friends were bringing it up, um, kind of like a joke. And but now they're like totally blind about any politician, actually. Like if I bash Trump, if I say he's Illuminati, he's deep state, he's a female to male satanic worshiper, the the people who hate Trump will start defending Trump. Like, so it's very interesting. Like and I totally believe this. I'm hoping he's not totally satanic, but so it's just this weird thing. It's like you can't, like, you're either supposed to be this mainstream leftist where there's no such thing as the Illuminati, there's no such thing as Satanism. So that's all you're allowed. You're not allowed to be like the Illuminati is running the world. It's very weird. So this paradigm we're in, this 1984 dystopia, this Brave New World, fusion of so many science fiction movies that we're living in right now. Uh, what's that? Soylent Green, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and Stepford Wives. Like, there's so many dystopian movies that we are living like as of 2023 right now. But we're not allowed to ask questions. We're not allowed to have any accountability of the powers that be. We're not allowed to have truth. We're only allowed an agenda. And what is so bad about this is that, okay, an alphabet agency runs certain platforms. And what I'm saying is only my opinion. These are questions that I'm wondering about. These are things that I'm asking others. Do you experience this as well? I'm just trying to figure things out. So, Big Brother, please, the algorithm, like, I'm just asking questions. So, and I lost my train of thought. So I just, I think we should have healthy communication. I think we should stop allowing ourselves to be dumbed down, because when we are allowed to ask questions, when we are allowed to hear different perspectives, we can make a better decision. So when we acquiesce to censorship, we are limiting the knowledge that we have. We're going back into the dark ages. Like, we think somehow chopping up people's bodies is going to fix their problems, is going to fix their emotions, is going to fix the hole in their spiritual heart and soul. We think that an operation is going to do that. We think some drugs are going to do that. Some hormone treatment is going to do that. That's not that. There's no proof of that. And there's so clearly no proof of that, because the experiments that are going on about that is happening as we speak, and to little children. But people are so consumed with buying things, Amazon, their mobile phones, and the blue light hypnotizing them to watch stupid shows or social media or something like that, rather than caring about their children. So, we're at the extinction of the deliberate extinction of the human species, or like a genocide of the human species. It's like a suicide. It's a suicide of the human species, but it's not a willful suicide. It's a kind of this accidental, because the parents are like, oh, I'm going to be on my Prozac, on my phone, and keeping up with the Joneses, and I'm going to have kids because that's what I do to keep up with the Joneses, but I have no human emotional development, and so I expect my tablet to bring up my child, or other people to bring up my child around me. Somehow they're going to learn through osmosis or something like that. I mean, it's insanity. I mean, like, parents who have no humanity are bringing children into this world. How are these children supposed to cope? And then the rest of us who happen to be around these parents have to deal with these children who have no parents, only in name, in name only parents, who then bring them out to the restaurant, and the child is is out of control. In the grocery store, the child's out of control. In the library, the child's out of control. And the parent is just like, yes, this is great. Isn't this great? Like, don't you love my child? I don't get it, but it's engineered. And, uh, there's probably only one person in the world who probably even cares, about this. But healthy humanity is about healthy boundaries. It's about conscious communication. It's about having, like, being able to speak your truth, being able to ask questions, being able to get an honest answer, having accountability, transparency of what's going on that affects you. Like, that is healthy. That's a healthy society. That's healthy relationships. That's healthy humanity. And we need to insist upon this. That's not an option. It's not up to the globalists whether or not they can give that to us. No, this is what we get. This is our birthright, and we have to hold fast to it. And I do believe we are in the end times. I do believe these are the last days, the end times, that's described in the Bible. But I don't think we should just, like, oh, okay, so I'm just going to wait to die. I do think we have to gently, quietly speak up, speak our truth, like, whatever it is that's going on. I think because, like, betraying humanity, betraying your country, betraying yourself is not healthy. Even if that there's a invasion of a people, coming to take over your country and defeat it. Like, do you just go drink a bunch of alcohol and do drugs and party until the soldiers walk in? No, you do responsible things. And in America, it's your responsibility to be more emotionally intelligent. Have some sense of self-preservation. Like, how did we get to be such cowards? How did we devolve into such ignorant, knee-jerk reaction nervous systems with legs? Because what I'm seeing aren't people, aren't human beings, aren't self-aware souls. It's just people who are trying to get by. And yes, I know times are tough, but then you don't buy that $1,000 iPhone. People are like, I gotta have that $1,000 iPhone, and there's, like, all these expensive stuff. Like, if that's your issue, if you're working so hard to have your bells and whistles, maybe have, like, reduce your time so you can think, or if you have other things that are totally taking up your time and attention, because that's what I'm assuming is the problem. People are just, they don't have time, they don't have attention, they're addicted to their phone. Maybe they need to if you're addicted to your device, like, do you want to be addicted to your device until the point that people come to kill you, like knock down your door? Or are you going to just be on your phone as they shoot you in the head or something like that, raping your wife and child or something? I mean, is that really what you're wanting? Like, folks, uh we are at the threshold of possibly the worst thing that happened to this country and humanity. And there's a reason why there's all these distractions. And I do think that, maybe it's not a solution, but if we're going to go through a tremendous crisis, we need to have the ability to communicate, to have an exchange of ideas, to ask questions, to know how to allow questions to be asked, to be able to hear responses and not be, like, attacking. Like, there's this trend of the left, like, basically yelling their questions with hatred and vitriol at a conservative person of the month. I mean, it just, there's all these people. So, like, where that progressive liberal is not even listening to the answer. It's like some sort of weird competition. Like when you're in group therapy, it's not a competition. Like I mean, unless somebody's a jerk or something like that. But when somebody's in group therapy, a support group, you respect the whole group, the group respects you. You say what you need to say for that time that that the meeting is going on. Don't go on, don't take up the whole meeting. Um, so, and you don't desecrate it with your getting your rocks off, you know, and certainly not being paid to be some sort of disruptor in the group. And I wonder now that I think about it, if these angry leftists uh, are paid, and who knows, maybe even paid by the talking head there because it makes for good content. It makes for a viral video, right? I mean, so I wouldn't put that past anybody. But in real life, though, we need to have the ability to communicate, to question, to have accountability, transparency. And what I have found from my, like the people that I've known a lot of my life, whether it's family or friends, is the left does not want to hear any questions. The left does not want to hear any information. The left does not want to have any accountability, transparency for this catastrophe that has gone on. They don't even want to see that there's a catastrophe. And that's like not healthy. That's dysfunctional. And I mean, I can't say the rest of their lives is that great. I mean, it's interesting because it's somewhat conventional, but um, I can't say that they appear to me happy, healthy, and so forth. So uh, I just know this to be true. Is that we have to communicate. We have to be able to feel safe enough to say how we're feeling and ask questions, have transparency, and not be censored and not be terrorized for wanting the truth, because that's fascism, that's totalitarianism, and we're seeing that in amongst the globalists, and unfortunately it's trickled down and very effectively into friends and family relationships, and it's a shame. And I just feel like it's like this big like elephant in the room. It's this incredible hypocrisy because the liberal left does know a lot of like self-help books, and if I went into their apartment and looked at their bookcase, they would have some great authors, and yet and they think that they've got this, I guess, Stockholm syndrome, that it's okay to shut down people when it comes to lockdowns or Wi-Fi technology upgrades that causes illness. Like, uh, but when it comes to their sexuality, they're the only ones who get to speak. I don't know what it is. When it comes to their progressive liberal viewpoint, theirs is the only one that gets a say, and any perspective, even from somebody in the gay community or the black community, like like that's not even allowed if it's not aligned with this globalist agenda. So, um, what do you guys think? I hope you're having a dialogue. I hope you're learning how best to effectively communicate, because that's what makes maybe us human beings is this high level communication, and the potential of cooperation with a trustworthy um, like partner. So, because that's what civilization is, and we're devolving. When you take away somebody's right to ask questions, to have communication, when you censor people, when you threaten people, dox people, take away their bank accounts, try to destroy them. I mean, that's destroying somebody, especially somebody who's doing something honest. That's really bad news because it's a rare person that somebody has honor and integrity just as a rule. So you take that one out, and that's gonna ruin. That's gonna be bad for the community. So just because it's inconvenient for somebody to be asking questions and requesting accountability and transparency, just because it's inconvenient, doesn't mean it's really in anybody's best interest to get rid of the truther. And clearly, the globalists don't have humans' best interests at heart. They're informed by Satan. That's why other things, like, that's why it's everything is so silly. Like, if you wanted solutions like everybody to be alive, stop pouring toxins into the food, air, water. But do globalists care about chemtrails? Do globalists care about the glyphosate in the food supply, water supply? Are globalists fixing any of the plastics in the environment and stuff like that? No, they're not doing any of these things that maybe would be simple to do. Are they stopping the chemicals that are used in sewage treatment plants, which is the water that we eventually drink with fluoride and aluminum and whatever? No. So it's clear the globalists do not intend to preserve the most amount of people's lives. Like they're liars. They're deceivers, and it's like anybody with half a brain could see, like, if they just bothered to look. So, uh, anyways, thank you for listening, and please let me know what you think. God bless.